All right, cool. So we're recording now, like I said in the message. We'll plan to make it public, but if anything gets said that you think shouldn't be public, let me know and I'll stop the recording right then and we'll start again. And if we
All
don't do
good.
that, we'll make it public. Sound good?
Sounds great, bro.
So great to connect with you. Oh my God, it's been so long.
Yeah.
Wow. How
Yeah.
are you?
It's great to see you. Great to hear your voice. Just wonderful to hear from you.
Yeah, yeah, likewise. I just have such special feelings about you, and our time together and all the energy that you were holding, when we were connecting and just like there's so much just like awesomeness there that I attach to you. So I'm so excited to be in your presence, be in your world again. Like this is awesome, man.
Yeah. Well, we came together in really special, times and circumstances. And yeah, the whole tribe that, yeah, we were are part of, is just a beautiful thing. We're very blessed.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't even know where to start. Tell me what's happened in your life. What's happening? Where are you at? What are you up to?
Well, I live in Canada again, in British Columbia. We're just outside of Vancouver, on the south side of Vancouver. We're about 10 minutes north of the border and about 20 minutes to the nearest beach. So it's a
That's
very
nice.
beautiful area where it's the temperate rainforest climate. So we get a lot of rain here, but it's so lush and just incredible. Not too hot in the summertime, generally speaking,
Yeah.
and not too cold in the winter. So yeah, I've never been around this much water before in my life, coming from Colorado, and I've lived in other parts of the world, but this is definitely the most water element I've had in my life before, and I love it. I never thought I would leave sunny Colorado for the rainy Northwest, but I've totally fallen in love with this place. Yeah.
Yeah, it's so great. It's so awesome. I, I wouldn't imagine you would remember, but when I went to school in Boulder, I lived in Boulder for 5 years.
Right. Oh yeah.
And then I moved straight from Boulder to Seattle and I lived in Seattle for 3 years. so so I totally get it.
Yeah.
And I visited Vancouver a couple of times when I was living in Seattle and loved Vancouver as a city. I actually saw Pink Floyd in Vancouver, so that was a pretty amazing
What?
experience.
Yeah.
talk about a great association with Vancouver,
Right.
I
Yeah.
saw them on the Division Bell tour there in Vancouver back in like, when was that? Like 93, 94, something like that.
Okay. Yeah.
And yeah, I love that area. I get, the feel of it. I loved Seattle. I spent a lot of time actually. I lived with a couple of guys in Seattle that grew up in Forks. I don't know if you ever heard of Forks. Forks is like a little town, like a couple thousand people on the Olympic Peninsula in
Okay.
Washington,
Huh.
and is traditionally like a logging town. So they grew up, in this whole logging world, and they were like children of the forest, basically. Like I went camping with them, and you could just give them an axe and set them off in the forest with an axe, and a week later, there'd be a castle built, and they'd be, totally, totally self-sufficient. So it was like amazing,
Yeah.
amazing. We spent when I was living with them, I think we did it. Yeah, 3 years in a row. I think maybe 4 years in a row that we spent five 5 days or 3 days. It was 3 days doing a one-way 5 mile hike along the Olympic Peninsula. So we wouldn't see people that whole time. It'd half be hiking like on the rocks or the sand and half up in the forest, in the rainforest. And it
Yeah.
was like a few 100 feet elevation between the two. So we'd be packing like 60-pound packs and like walking up and down. It was like amazing, like such like peak experience of my life of connecting with that, area that you're talking about, that you're living in,
Totally.
that's
Yeah.
totally being in the energy of it in such a connected way, that we're
Yeah.
just like being a part of that and totally leaving the world. So I totally
Yeah.
appreciate where you're at and what you're getting to experience there.
Yeah. It's a total primordial magic, It's juicy here. It's just juicy.
It is. It's great. It's great. How long have you been there?
I've been living here full time since 2009. At the time that you and
Wow.
I met, my wife is Canadian. I'm U.S. citizen, and at the time that you and I met, we were still getting my immigration sorted out. It was a 6 year journey, my journey through immigration to Canada. So that's a really long story, but that was the situation. And I was living in Colorado at the time that we had met. I had been up here, but then had to leave, and yeah, crazy life. But I'm here now.
You're there now, you're settled. That's amazing.
Yeah.
And I saw the album that you sent. I'm sorry I haven't had a chance to like listen to it yet, but I'm very interested in like tuning into your music and just, what your world is now in terms of that, where you've gone with that and events and, being live with people, what's happening in your world with all of that.
Oh yeah, brother, you gotta check it out. I've recorded 3 albums since you and I met.
Nice.
The first one was in 2008, at the end of 2008, and yeah, I've recorded 2 since then. Got more music coming through too as well, and it's literally the music. It's healing music, and it's literally taken me around the world, down to Costa Rica, Peru, New York, California, well, Florida, and France and Belgium. Yeah. And just in 2019, I toured in the Pacific Northwest as well as BC and Colorado, Texas, New York, Connecticut, France, and Belgium. I
Amazing.
thought 2020 I'd be touring across Europe, but 2020.
Had other plans.
In 2020 hindsight, that wasn't going to happen.
That
Yeah.
sounds extraordinary. How it's been developing for you and what you've been doing. It's really, really great. Do you do like local events and stuff, or just focusing more on recording, or how are you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing local events again. Just kind of started getting it into motion in the spring of this year, so it feels new again. And
Yeah,
yeah, mostly been doing smaller events, but a couple large events and some retreats. And I'm still holding the hope that yeah, I can do large events again because. But yeah, I'm just really on a mission to it's medicine for the people and for the earth, and it's definitely needed. It's just it's not my ego talking. It's I just see how people respond to it, and they tell me what it does for them. So yeah, I feel a responsibility to share this in every way possible. One thing that happened in the middle of lockdowns, I got a message from Dr. Joe Dispenza's people, and asking if I would be willing to license some of my music for use in his guided meditations.
that's awesome. That's
Yeah.
amazing.
Oh yeah. I thought it over, and and I said yes. And yeah, so he's licensed 5 of my songs for different, for several different meditations, and they're playing my music at his live retreats. Some of our friends from the qigong community have been at the retreats, and just witnessed how people are responding to the music. And yeah, it's really great to hear that feedback. And yeah, he's waiting for more from me, patiently waiting. So yeah, I need to be recording more. So
That's so cool, man. Congratulations
thank
on,
you.
that leap, and all of it sounds amazing. All the touring and everything, were you setting all of that up and putting all that together, or were other people supporting you with that, or how are you dealing with that?
I had, I would usually have some local support. Like when I went to France, I was at the invitation of someone who found me through, again, one of our Qigong friends who had posted a video when I was visiting him in New York. And that was Hip Fu. You remember Hip Fu? Yeah. And she was a former roommate of his, and she's French, and yeah, just reached out and asked me if I wanted to come play in France, and so boom, it just exploded from there. And interestingly, like the second time I went to France, because I went twice, 2018 and 2019, I even started making announcements at my local events here that, I'm touring, I'm looking for new communities, and oh, by the way, I'm going to Europe next year, and anyone has any connections? And this French girl speaks up, and she connected me with a retreat center on the Normandy coast that I ended up playing at in 2019. So just by I'm sitting in a salt cave in North Vancouver, and I'm make this connection with someone from France, and she connects me with the retreat center. It's just how the magic works. It's just, yeah, I'm in awe of all of it.
Yeah, I totally get that, and that's
Yeah,
really amazing and
yeah,
perfect story, perfect testimonial to exactly how it all works, right? Like you're saying,
yeah,
just let the magic, put the magic out there, and let the universe do the rest, right?
yeah, yeah.
That's amazing. That's amazing. So, give me a sense of what those performances were like in terms of like when you say the bigger venues and the bigger performances, like what were the biggest ones you had, and how did you get that many people in that remote location? Just for me to get an idea of the mechanics of what you've done and what, like you're saying, what you want to do.
Yeah. So, like in 2015 and 2016, I was part of a multimedia event at the Vancouver Planetarium, and that's a 280 seat venue. And we did 9 shows. This was based around sacred geometry and the phi ratio and how that's a repeating patterns in nature at all levels. And so we had a brilliant person who is expert in these realms put together a story and I guess the artwork or the illustrations that were projected on the planetarium ceiling, and I would play my music in breaks in his talk. So we would just, he would present some concepts, and then I would take over with the music. And while he was talking, I brought in a female vocalist who also plays crystal bowls, and so she would kind of provide background while he's speaking. And yeah, my music, it's too deep for people to speak over for the most part. I generally don't let that happen, except I make an exception for Dr. Joe. But so in performance, yeah, so it would just, he would stop talking and let me play a song. And we had 9 sold out shows consecutively with no paid advertising.
Wow.
Yeah, and we would have continued doing it, but the graphics that we were using for the program were overloading the computer system of the planetarium, and it almost crashed a few times. And so they freaked out and said, "No more of this." I want to go back and just do my music with the planetarium graphics, and or some venues like that, And yeah, I'm totally comfortable with large audiences and small, like at this salt cave venue that I play on a fairly regular basis locally. It's 12 15 people at a time. They're um, tickets aren't cheap, but it's just this beautiful experience. So I love the intimacy, and I also just, to reach a lot of people at once is so powerful, and a real gift. And I'm well suited to that because I in my younger days, I was a bassist and singer in rock bands, and so I've been on stage and envisioning being on stage for most of my life. So yeah, I got it covered, and yeah, also with larger venues, sometimes I can bring on a percussionist and perhaps a female vocalist to round out the sound, and it's really beautiful. With my latest album, I used a percussionist on the majority of the songs, really accomplished percussionist, not just a guy who plays drums, but it adds so much depth, and to have the rhythm aspect added to the medicine, I think makes it even more accessible to anyone. It's yeah, the music is really archetypal in its nature, so it's different, and yeah, draws people in at a very visceral and spiritual level at the same time.
It's amazing. It's
Yeah.
amazing. I have to say, while I'm thinking about it, because I don't want to forget, it seems like maybe it's beyond coincidence at this point. But I've just started reaching out to people again, and one of the first people that I've reconnected with is a dear friend of mine. I don't know if you know her by name, Paloma Devi. Do you know Paloma?
No, I don't think so.
She used to be in the Guru Ganesha band for a while, so
Okay.
you might have heard her or seen her when she was doing that. But
Uh-huh.
she's one of the most amazing female vocalists ever, and I don't even know what she's doing right now, music wise. We just started reconnecting, but again, it just seems like, as you're saying, female vocalist. I'll show you a little clip of her, while we're somewhere later in this, so you can kind of see. Because I filmed something of her singing. That to me is like one of the most beautiful things I've experienced, when she was doing that and at the event I created. So I'll show you,
Cool.
yeah, I'll show you that clip when we're a little
Mm.
further along in the conversation. But let me tune in more again to where you want to go with this. You mentioned touring again, retreats. I want to get in your head in terms of what you're looking to create in the world, because as you've seen, that's kind of what I'm doing, is kind of supporting people and creating the reality they want to create. So I just want to keep tuning into your world so I can kind of be with you in it and let, everything that I'm speaking come from, what you're looking to create in the world.
Yeah, well, as we're evolving into the digital age more and more, obviously I need to be present there in a more proficient way than where I'm at currently, and I'm working on a meditation series. Because to back up a little bit. The healing arts and meditation are what brought me back into music, because at the end of the road of my rocker aspirations, after 17 plus years of putting together these different projects that would achieve a certain level of glory and then dissolve or blow up, I realized that was, I couldn't go that way anymore. And I was really hungry for a more spiritually and holistic lifestyle. And as I was putting that out there, I one day climbed a mountain in South Park, Colorado, and found a crystal on top. And I picked it up, and my life changed. And I was laid off from my day job, and my wonderful band, who I'm still good friends with all the members, we broke up like 2 months later. And so I knew that was the end of that road, and it was heartbreaking, but I knew I just had to go a different way. And so I thought I quit music, like I was getting a divorce from music, and jumped in head first to the healing arts and my meditation practices and the spiritual path. And along the way, I got the inspiration to start holding guided meditation circles and leading guided meditations. I just did it out of my home in Denver, and it took off immediately. People started, well, it grew slowly, but it turned into this thing that was twice a month, and people were coming and having extraordinary experiences during these guided meditations. Eventually, English language wasn't enough to convey what I was perceiving and wanting to transmit, so I started to ohm. And with that, people felt it even more. And that was the crack in my reality that allowed music to slowly come back to me. So now the music is the meditation, it is the prayer. And coming full circle, I have meditations coming to me that I know can share with my music. It's going to be really powerful, transmission. So I want to, have that as a digital product that people, I can make available to people. Also, during lockdowns, I started creating my own music videos, and to bring in healing through the visual aspect to go with the music. And I had never even attempted anything resembling videography before. but I opened up iMovie and it was surprisingly easy to work with, and I'm really pleased and have gotten great feedback, with the results of that. Um, that being said, I have a friend now that's a filmmaker, a real live filmmaker, and he's helping me with my newest video. So I'm letting him do the editing. I set the direction, and he also took me out into the woods, and we did some, beautiful shots to go with it. And yeah, I'm really excited to have this to present and hopefully work with them continuing moving forward. And also live streaming has, again, during lockdowns, I was trying to do it from my living room and using the camera on my laptop and attempting to get the high quality sound through Zoom was a journey and a half. It was extremely frustrating, and I'm just not very tech oriented in my mentality, much less experience. So that was really challenging. I finally got to where I did have high quality sound in my live streams, and I know that moving forward, I want to just increase the quality of that presentation and yeah, make it available live streams, because I can reach people around the world, instantaneously in a live setting. And the feedback that I was getting while doing that was, pretty much equal to what happens in the live events. That being said, there's nothing replacing being in the same room with people and having that interaction. But yeah, it's good to know that the magic and the medicine of the music can be transmitted digitally, instantaneously through the internet, and people can be in their homes and have these transcendent experiences and actual physical healing at times. So yeah, so that's kind of the direction that I want to grow into more. Yeah, it's just more, basically expanding and doing more, and that's what I intend to keep doing until I can't anymore.
Perfect.
Yeah.
That's so great. So while you're saying it, what's coming in my mind, let me ask you about it. Have you done much outreach to like be parts of festivals or be included in like concerts that are along the same line? Like, have you tried to tag along with other, things that are gathering the people already and you're showing up at?
Yeah, I've developed, a reputation, and people are finding out about me. There have been a few festivals that I applied to, but none have really responded. So I guess maybe in their eyes, I'm not big time enough, or maybe they put me in the category of, oh, it's just a sound bath thing. So I am, my events can be more akin to what is known as sound bath these days. And at the same time, it is more musical. And with the a large enough audience, then that allows me to bring in or have the budget to bring in other musicians, like a percussionist and whatnot, to flesh it out. So yeah, that is an area that should be happening. And also, again, yeah, like you said, opening for other, or being on the same bill with other established artists. When Diva Primal came to town last, I did reach out to them, and they're not using, opening acts. So that's cool. Yeah, Krishna Das hasn't been up here since the whole madness started in 2020. But yeah, I'm definitely, I see that happening for sure. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
It's
Actually,
amazing, man.
I need someone working for me to do these outreach, because I've got so much. I'm doing it all basically myself, and it seems like I'm constantly in a state of overwhelm, and a lot more could be getting done. That's kind of a snapshot into my organizational skills too, because I could be getting a lot more done than than is happening. But yeah, sometimes it's just so many things to consider, and to develop that. Yeah, it just can be. They say paralysis of analysis. You're like, look, okay, we'll have to be expert at this, and this. Oh, and there's music that wants to come through. I need to be recording that too, and so I do need help.
Yeah, I totally get that. And I can relate on so many levels to what you're saying because, I've seen it in so many other people and I experience it in myself so much. Almost exactly what you're describing is that, there's certain ways I want to be spending my time and I have to do all of these other things just to be able to, create whatever for that, right? Create an audience, create whatever that looks like. There's just, I've also been very much in this, do everything myself mode when I really should have all of these other experts doing all of these other things. So
Yeah.
it's part of why, I've developed these systems because I've developed these systems to be able to allow myself to function on a much higher level. And, oh, why don't I give them to everybody else so they can use them and function on a much higher level too? It's kind of the way that I'm learning how to, address all of our challenges in the world. Is I'm personally dealing with a lot of these challenges. It's like, what do I need to have in my world to be able to deal with this better? Oh, okay, whatever I need is what a lot of people need in order to deal with things better. And now finally, I've kind of connected the dots that I've been working on connecting for a long time, which is, how do we address our biggest challenges in the world? Because that's, I don't know if you remember, it was actually right around the time we were meeting. I think I was sharing, do you remember me sharing Energetic Planet and Energetic Planet postcards when we were connecting? Because there was one time when I was in Orlando, and I think you were there that time when I was just hatching this idea of Energetic Planet, and I had just created the postcards and I was sharing them at the time. I'll actually pull up the visual so you can see it to be reminded, because it's really extraordinary now that I'm thinking about it and talking about it, like the full circle nature of all of this. Let me show you. See if the visual spurs something for you. And it's extraordinary because this postcard that I created, and I'll show you, what it says on it, because, it was back in like 2009, and like what I'm working on is still the same exact thing. It's been that long of an evolutionary journey. That's an event I created a few years back when I was still creating events. It was one of the last events I created. This was another event I created a few years back. So there's a bunch of things in there that I'm sure you'd be interested in seeing and checking out. But this is the postcard, if you recall it. And so, just 2008 was when I was sharing it with everybody. And so it says, imagine a world where everyone on the planet has nutritious food, clean air, healthy water, affordable housing, artistic expression, health, freedom, peace. The energy to overcome all our greatest challenges already exists. We simply have to organize our energies. For the first time in the history of humanity, we've invented a technology, the internet, which we can use to organize the people and the resources on our planet to address our greatest needs. So, I was getting it back then. I was very clear about how we had everything we needed. I just wasn't finding a way to connect all the dots yet. Like I was doing it in my speech and I was describing how we could connect all the dots, but I wasn't getting to the level of technology building that I was, building the systems that would provide the infrastructure for everything. But now over the last few years, as it's been evolving, and you watched the video where you saw the reality generating machines, right?
Yes.
The animation about that. Yeah. So the reality generating machines as that distinct concept is only like 3 or 4 months old at this point. So it's just, this keeps evolving. Like there's a new generation of where my mind is going around this, like every 2, 3, 4 months. It just depends on what mode I'm in, but it keeps evolving like really, really rapidly now to really, with the reality generating machines, the big thing about it to me is that I've broken down our reality creation into this very simple, basic level. And actually, it's even more basic than what you saw. And I'm going to show you another animation, which kind of gives you some more foundation. But I've come to realize that everything that we want to create in the world comes down to a story that we're sharing with a specific person or people seeking agreement about that story. And when we have agreement, then we are able to do something together. So everything that we ever want to create is really just about telling a story that we're seeking agreement from.
Yeah.
And when you make it that basic and that simple, then if we have tools that just allow us to effectively tell the story, and we're getting trained how to tell the story better, and we have better tools that allow us to tell the story in the specific ways to the specific people that we need to, now we can really start to create our reality, you know, when we're being in that consciousness about it. And when we have more of the specifics, more of the tools, then it gives us even more capability to do that. Can I show you a quick video, a 2-minute video that gives you some more details of the reality generating machine? Just so
Sure.
You can get more of the systematization of this. This is the thing, I'm going to bring in the concept of the connector right now. And that's the other part that's being really revolutionary in this, and why I want to share it with you is because the connector is a big part of how all of this shifts. Fine, here it is. And again, by systematizing all of this, this is what gives us the foundation, not only to create our individual realities, which actually is kind of has become a byproduct, essentially, of what I've been working on, because I've been working as an engineer. How do we address climate? How do we address pollution? How do we address, you know, social issues? Like, I've been trying to figure out how we wrap our arms around these huge issues that have been beyond the scope of us being able to wrap our arms around as a society, right? And so as I've been working on that, you know, I've kind of, for a long time, I've known that in order to address things on a big scale, we have to have everyone plugged into a system that allows all those people to come together around the issues that they care about, right? It's like right now, and this is the extraordinary thing, and it even goes back to the card I just showed you. You can pick any issue in the world right now, any issue that you care about, and there's not one place where you can go and find all of the people and all the businesses and all the nonprofits and all the experts and all the everybody that cares about that one issue, where they're all coming together and having a conversation, pooling their resources, figuring out how to strategically apply those resources and creating results, right? And it's like, that's, if you're an engineer showing up to solve a problem, like, that's the process I just described, you know? So the fact that as a society, we don't have that process working anywhere for any issue, let alone everywhere for every issue, it's like insane, you know?
Yeah.
So that's what I've been, you know, grappling with and dealing with, is like, it's clear from a, you know, an intellectual intelligence level, like, if you want to intelligently address challenges, you gather everyone that cares about that, you pool resources, you have an informed conversation to figure out how to strategically apply those resources, and then you do that. You create a solution that's, you know, maximally and optimally applying all the resources you have on hand to the challenge that you're facing, right? That's kind of like engineering 101, you know, that's what they teach us the first day of an engineering class, right? Wow. So the fact, again, that as a society, we can't figure that out as a society, like, we're stuck, we're essentially trapped in all these existing systems that exist for us, that we don't see a way out to be able to do what I just said. It's really extraordinary. But again, the thing that I've now kind of connected the dots with is I've realized for a while, it's challenging when people are faced with all their individual challenges, like, you know, how am I going to make money? How am I going to take care of my family? How am I going to deal with these relationships? How am I going to help these friends? How am I going to, you know, all of the challenges that people are facing in their internal world. For a lot of people, for many people, it's tough for them to, like, you know, jump into this, like, how we deal with climate and give, you know, time and attention to all of this when they've got all of these other, you know, people in their lives that are screaming for their attention, you know, type of thing. it's a real challenge in our society, right? To be thinking globally and taking action globally when most of us, are literally in a state of overwhelm about just our immediate things around us.
Absolutely.
So, again, what I've figured out through this whole system is that with the reality generating machines, now it's the big thing has brought me down to the micro level. Like, let me create systems that allow people to create their individual realities, that they care about with their family, with their business, with their whatever, within a system that essentially scales up. Like, each one of these reality generating machines is essentially like a Lego brick, right? And so basically you can brick them all together to create something much bigger. So, we're able to use, and it's all based on the same foundational concepts, the story and getting agreement. And now you'll see with the seeker and the supporter and the connector, like this very process that you're about to see, it just gets repeated over and over again at, a big problem, big challenge like climate is just broken down. You break it down, you break it down, you break it down till you get to these individual actions that all these different people are taking, coordinated together to create the end result. Right. But in the end, it's people that are working on specific intentions. Like, I have to do this research, or I have to do this outreach, or I have to do whatever. And again, it's the same reality generating machines that you're using in your personal world and in your business that you're then using within this bigger global solution. So this is, where we finally get to connect the dots between what we care about in our local world and how we apply all of that to, what we're doing in our global world, so we can actually now start to, effectively address all of these challenges that have been beyond us. So let me share this with you and then get your thoughts and your feedback from here.
These days, so many demands on us. These days, with so many demands on us, it's challenging for most of us to meet our own personal, family, and work commitments, let alone make the difference we'd like to in our community, our country, and our world. Uniting for Action is excited to present Reality Generating Machines, a revolutionary breakthrough in systematizing how you create results in your life so that you can be optimally efficient and effective in the use of your time, energy, and resources. Reality generating machines allow us to go from saying what we want to getting what we want by breaking down what we want into a series of roles we need filled. Each of these roles becomes a blueprint for a gear in our reality generating machine. Each gear is made up of 3 components: a seeker, a supporter, and a connector. An agreement between a seeker and a supporter creates a functional gear, bringing us one step closer to having a fully functioning machine. Connectors are people who connect seekers with supporters. By emphasizing and incentivizing the role of connectors, we're helping society evolve from a win-win world of cooperation to a win-win-win world of collaboration and synergy. The agreements we seek evolve from the offers we make. Offers to supporters and connectors are based on a combination of inspiration and incentives. When more inspiration is present, less incentives are needed. When more incentives are present, less inspiration is needed. We've created the Uniting for Action content system to help seekers create, organize, and share content which inspires prospective supporters and connectors. The content system integrates with seekers' existing social media accounts to automate the sharing of content, incentives, and offers. This facilitates, streamlines, and accelerates the process of securing agreements with supporters and connectors. Once you have agreements in place for each of the gears, you now have a functional reality generating machine that you can turn on and keep running until you create the results you're seeking.
Brilliant.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, I meant to ask you in the beginning, so I guess now is a good time to ask you. You said you're interested in what I was sharing. what about what I've shared was, interesting to you to reach out, and what are you seeing that's of interest to you?
Well, it's in alignment with my objectives. So you're everything. The supporter and the seeker and connecting the seeker and the supporter and having the connectors. That's what I've been looking to develop and to create a tribe of connectors as well. I think is key, and rather than trying to funnel more money into social media companies to promote my offerings to people. I guess there's a place for that, through advertising is what I'm talking about, through social media. However, that's a whole, there's nothing as strong as word of mouth or a personal connection and testimonial, so if someone has been moved deeply by an experience with me or through my music, then if I can incentivize them to share that joy and that healing, then why not? Everyone, it's a win-win-win. Yeah, and the three, is a sacred number and extremely profound in my life, and on so many levels. It's just that resonates on every possible level. So.
I appreciate that. I really appreciate that. And I appreciate you even, bringing in the numerology and everything, because I've been getting more and more clear about that through this process. It was almost accidental that that the hexagon became the logo for Uniting for Action. But as I started playing with it, and especially with all the different connections and everything, I really started to get into the geometry of it and really started to almost process, like on a universal level, an intelligence that was there that I wasn't like being exposed to on Earth necessarily, but was coming to me. And, the three, and somebody mentioned it to me right around that time, mentioned like, how they were seeing like 3s and 6s, and they were mentioning that to me. And it just kind of reinforced for me and put my attention there. And I started to really see how I wanted to start creating this visual construct of these machines, these physical machines that we could look at, that was based on the 3s and the 6s and the 9s and all of that, that then we use to talk about, reality generating machines. There's a reason that I'm using this machine concept, because I think for people to understand that when you're building a machine, and just to kind of review it a little bit more of the concept. So you have an intention, right? So let's say your intention is to create, a digital guided meditation, right? And so you decide that what you need in terms of support is you need, somebody, and maybe you have these things already, but theoretical, let's say, I need a recording studio, I need somebody that's going to mix it, I need somebody that's going to do some background music, I need somebody that's going to provide the digital platform, I need a monetization model. You outline all of these very specific things that you need in order to create this intention of, putting out these guided meditations digitally. And when you're doing it like that, when you have it in the form of a reality generating machine physical model, when you can say each one of those entities is a gear in your machine, and if you're missing any gear, then the machine can't function. If there's a gear missing, the machine's not going to run, right? It needs every gear in there. So when you think about it that way and you look at it that way, you're like, I need to get these gears into this machine in order to get this machine functioning. I'm still missing this gear here. I'm still missing this gear here. What do I need to do to tune up the inspiration or to tune up the incentives to get somebody in there And then once I've gotten them in there, okay, now I've got all the gears for my machine. So now I can turn it on and make it run. Right.
Yeah.
So again, I really appreciate you seeing all that, feeling all that. And even on the numerology side and the geometrical side, that's it's really all coming together for me too.
Yeah. Yeah. I think right now, in terms of marketing, I have what they call a leaky bucket. So like people can come into my world because they had an experience with my music, and there's opportunities for them to get on my email list and receive some free music downloads, etc. But there's more. It's not as my own little machine that I've patched together. It's like it's not as efficient, nearly as efficient as it can be. And as I have opportunities to play for larger audiences, or team up with more well-known artists, for as an example, or let's say my music gets licensed in a movie or television show, which it's ready for. The production is at that quality. There needs to be, my machine needs to be ready for that influx of people to serve them, and to not have them guessing or working to find out, well, how can I get more of this, and to really get the full experience and full potential that's there for them. So yeah,
that's awesome. And so where are you at in that process right now in terms of pulling in the people or the resources or whatever to put all that together for yourself?
Oh yeah, I'm pretty much sitting here by myself. Spinning my wheels way too much. And it's something that I have to recognize as part of my own internal process, that I need to the outer world is a reflection of the inner world. We know that. And so I have to really start here and developing that more coherence, and so that it does spread from there. So perhaps this is why, because I recognize that, maybe that's why we're having this conversation. I manifested you back into my reality. We're having this conversation, and vice versa, right?
Yeah, I totally appreciate that. I really, really do. I honor that. It's been happening in very, special ways. A very similar thing happened with Jamie Deva a few months ago, where Jamie was thinking about me, and I reached out to him, and it was like, I was just thinking about you, and we connected again that way for the first time in many years. So it was really great to reconnect with Jamie in that way. And there have been other people that have, we've had some very synchronous types of experiences. And like another friend of mine, she just randomly came across a picture of me and her, a few weeks ago. And that same week that she did, I sent her a message, and she's just like, I was just thinking about you. And then not only that, but the image that she had sent me, I was trying to find a picture of an event from like years ago, from like 5 years ago. And I was going back through my iPhone to find it, in the history of my pictures. And I went ahead and I realized it was in like 2017, I think it was. And in my phone, I go and find 2017 and find the month that event happened. And I clicked on it. And all of a sudden, the same picture that she had sent to me was up on my phone.
Nice.
So yeah, exactly. So it's just like these crazy, crazy synchronous experiences are happening. And I totally appreciate how tuned in you are. I know from our experience in the past and the work that you're doing and just the energy that you're holding. So the fact, like you said, that we are connecting and we are, perfectly coming together in this moment is super special for me too. So I totally honor that and appreciate that. It's really, really amazing. Yeah, and I think, you know, the way that I'm kind of seeing this unfolding for us, and you tell me your thoughts about this, but I want to, we can do it today if you want to spend more time today, or we can set up another meeting to go into like a full reality generating session with you, where basically we'll start with the mind mapping process. And I can show you a couple of examples if you're interested, where, you know, we go, let me pull it up while I'm saying it, so it's not just like theoretical, but you're seeing it. And I do this because, like you're saying, there's so many different pieces that we've already touched on, and there are, you know, there's, with all the pieces that are, you know, we've already touched on and that are there, and so many details, like I've found that this is the best way to, you know, in a very short amount of time, really get a lot out and on paper, so to speak, to kind of give us a map. This is a very simple one, but let me show you some of the more complex ones that I've done with other people, you know, just recently. Thinking of one with Rico that was really, you know, complex in just a short amount of time. So this is just one session that we put this map together, you know, to kind of, again, map his world. Holistic health, that includes Thai massage and these other different things, and, you know, artist over here and business over here. So again, this is a great way to, you know, in one fell swoop, you know, depending upon how much time we do, devote to it, but just get everything that's in your head out of your head into an organized fashion, so you can look at it, you can share it with your wife, you can share it with other people. And now, you know, and you can keep adding to it, you know, as thoughts are coming up and all of that, but you're starting to map out your life in a visual way, right? So that's the first thing. So now it's, you know, it's not that you're trying to keep it all in your head and trying to remember how everything fits together. It's like you keep building this map, because this map contains everything. It's, yeah, there's a lot more I could say, but that's enough about that. Any questions about that part of it?
No, that's, yeah.
So then, you know, it's a matter of looking at the whole map. Now that you're surveying everything, now is where you decide, what are my priorities, right? And this really helps bring like the grounded reality to what are my priorities, right? We look at the fact that you have limited time, you have limited energy, you have limited finances, you have very, you know, you have very specific limitations on your resources. So knowing that I have these limitations, I want to be really intentional and really effective and efficient about where I'm devoting those to create the results that I want in the world, right? I can't be having all my time go over to this part of my map over here when and this part of my map isn't getting any attention, when really this is a higher priority for me over here, right?
Yeah.
So it really helps you bring that, like, we're actually, it's not developed yet, but I'm creating it as a dashboard, and the dashboard is going to be available pretty soon, because then what we're doing is let me go back to the mind map. So what we're doing is we're finding, you know, these different things on the mind map that are things, again, that are your priorities. So let's say, you know, that this is one of your priorities, creating the Veda Conservatory. So then what you're going to do is we're going to create that reality generating machine for that intention, right? So what do we need to fulfill that intention? Well, for that, I need this person, I need this person, I need this venue, I need this money, you know, whatever you need for that. Then we create a reality, you know, then we go to another part of your map and another priority, we create a reality generating machine for that, right? And then another one and another one. So you're creating reality generating machines for all of your priorities. Then again, when we have the control panel, which we'll have soon, then basically you're seeing all of your reality generating machines side by side on your screen all at once, right? And by seeing them side by side on your screen all at once, you're seeing all of the supporters that you need for all of the different reality generating machines. And you're seeing which ones are missing, which gears are missing from which machines. And you're saying, okay, I've got, you know, 2 hours of time coming up in 2 days from now. Which one of these machines am I going to put that time into in order to, you know, get one more of these gears into place, right?
Yeah.
It lets you be so, so exact about how you're using your time and your money and your energy to the most optimally efficient way for what you want to accomplish, right?
Yeah.
So that's the first part of it. Any questions about any of that?
No, that's yeah, brilliant.
Thank you. I know, it's like, why don't we have this already, right? Like,
Right.
why are we not all living in this reality already? It's kind of incredible that we're not, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so then the other part of it, as you saw with the incentives and the inspiration, and it's so great that you had the perfect example of the couple of connectors that you had to these venues, right? The woman that was in your meditation and HIPPU. And so, the value of connectors and you know how it works. And I don't know, if you gave them a commission or not. I'm sure each of them would do it for inspiration alone, just to have Matthew out there and all of that. So, but it gives you the opportunity to systematize it, right? By systematizing it, now you have more people, working on your behalf, right? Because they know they're going to get some benefit. They're going to get a free event or a free, album or a free whatever, it is, or commission or whatever it looks like, right? Yeah. And so there's even more people that want to do even more. And again, you've got it all automated in your system. When you have, let me just show you really quickly the story making machine, because this wasn't in the videos, and this is part of the mechanics of how this all works right now. So this page was built using the story making machine. I'm going to actually go in. I won't spend a lot of time on it now, but just give you a sense. This is I'm going to the Uniting for Action profile. This is all user generated. So you'll soon have a profile on Uniting for Action for yourself and for your business. You can, update your profile anytime, your address, your contact information, your social media, all of that stuff. So real basic and simple at this point, because I am still the only one doing all of this, but we'll have programmers making it more sophisticated very soon. And so you have the simple profile, the basic thing, but this is where, the real magic is. This is the stuff that I actually programmed about 2 months ago. I spent a couple months programming this system, and this is really extraordinary. So this is the story making machine, and these are the different themes that I have that I've created. Within a theme, you can have other themes, and you can have pages, and the pages have sections, and within the sections you have concepts. And so, if you expand it all out, here's all of my themes and all of my pages and all of my sections and all my concepts. And when you go to a certain one, like here's the concept for identifying the gears in your machine. So I click on that, and now I'm right into the editing mode for that concept. So I've got my title, I've got my YouTube link if I've got a YouTube link, and then I've got my text. And then this is where you can, bold it, do whatever you want with it. And then this is a preview of what it creates. So again, this is the user interface that you get to use the story making machine. When you go and preview the content, this particular concept is going to jump you down to that concept is right here on the page. So you're using the story making machine to build out this page yourself. And this top section gets automatically generated from the content you've created. So it goes ahead and creates these sections and these links to, drop you down the page. And then you're entering these, videos and this text and this section header. So this is a section header. This is a concept. This is another section header, another concept, and then another concept, and another concept, and another concept. So again, you as a user are building this, and what you're doing by building this, just to take you back to one of these pages in progress with one of the people I've been working with recently. We actually have to move it over to her user, but we started here the tantric ministry. This is what she's doing and what she's working on. So when we go to this page and we preview the content, this is how we've taken the time that we spent together. We spent an hour and a half starting with the mind map and then having her describe for me all of the different, people, all the different support that she's seeking. So this is just a quick overview that I put on the page so that, anybody that she's seeking has an overview. And then this is where she described the digital content as a foundation. And this is where she got into all of the supporters that she's looking for. So she's looking for an organizational expert. This is the 2 minute and 40 seconds where she talks about that person that she's looking for and what they're going to be able to provide. Then this is actually where the system itself gives her the ability, now that she's described what she's looking for, and then this video, she talks about what she's willing to offer in exchange. Here's the money I can provide, here's the sessions I can provide, that sort of thing. Now it's in the system. Again, this is all through the user interface. So you get to do this over and over again, once I set you up with the system. Now, when somebody sees this, that is, a supporter that is interested in what she has to offer, they can click on get in touch and send her a message. And now it's, part of the automated system. And the same thing for the referrals. And so if somebody wants to refer what she's looking for, it's here in the system. So again, soon you'll have a dashboard where you're looking at of all of the offers that I'm putting out into the world, who's responding to what different offers, what people are showing up to be, connectors for me. And you just do that over and over again with the accountant you're looking for, with the content manager you're looking for, with the production manager you're looking for. So this is how we go from mapping it out on the mind map to having, a conversation where you're describing for me what you're looking for in each of these supporters. And then we're taking that short video clip and we're putting it, onto this page through the story making machine, and then adding the incentives and adding the inspiration as part of the video. And now you've got an automated system where you're able to just put this out, right? Now you're able to share this on your social media or your email list or anywhere where you can say, hey, everyone, I'm taking this leap forward in my business and you're a part of it. You're part of this whole community. I want to give you the opportunity to share with me whoever that can fill any of these needs. And I'm offering, incentives. And not only that, but it'll create this in the world and it'll create this in the world. So you stack on the inspiration, but this is the actual process of going from what's in your head to, creating it as your reality in your world, right? And now you're starting to get all these supporters showing up because we're amplifying and we're magnifying how many potential supporters you're reaching through the connectors, through the connector network, like you were talking about. And, you get the idea already of the power of the connection with this system. Because it's automated, it allows it to go multiple generations of connections. Because if you're able to inspire enough and or incentivize enough, then somebody who's in your network not only could be a connector for you to the person that you're looking for, but they could open up their whole network as a whole network of connectors, right? And then those connectors can open up their network as connectors, and it could propagate, and that's what viral, is. And so again, we're doing everything to create a mechanism that allows you to go viral for anything based on how much you can inspire, which is typically what creates the virality, but also, how much you can incentivize, because that can create virality as well, right? Yeah. When you say, I'll provide, $1,000 to anybody that can give me this type of person, that I create a contract with, then not only are your friends going to be looking a little deeper in their network to see if they can find that person for you, but they're like, you know what, I'm going to tell my network that if they can find anybody, I can give them $500 and I'll be able to keep $500, right? I mean, it's like, it can go on and on and on, right? So again, once the mechanism is in place, then we have all these different ways that we can just turn up the dial, right? Like my whole machine is put together except for this one gear. I need this one gear. What can I do to create even more inspiring content? What is the limit of how I can incentivize this so I can get that one gear in place, because I need to get this machine done, right? And so this whole system gives you the knobs to be able to actually turn up the inspiration through, you know, the videos you're creating, through the content you're creating, and also turn up the incentive. So it gives you these fine-tuned controls on creating your reality. You've got your whole reality mapped out in front of you, and you can make sure that any one of them is coming into reality just by turning up the knob here, turning up the knob there, turning up the knob there.
Mm-hmm. You
Or you cut out on me. I
Yeah, the
lost.
screen froze for a second. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can.
Okay. Yeah, it's beautiful, man.
Awesome. Awesome. So I appreciate it. I appreciate your resonance. I appreciate you getting it. And yeah, so I want to do this with you as much as you want. You know, the way I described it, I don't know if you got to see it on the page, is I'm asking people to create an expectation for how valuable this session and this process will be for them, so that we can, you know, like you can say, wow, this is worth $3,000 to me, or this is worth $300 to me, or whatever it is in your mind to have the session and get started. And then what I'm asking people to do, so we can be in kind of the same wavelength in terms of how we're approaching this, is to provide that amount up front before our session, and then provide a money back guarantee, basically. So I want to make sure that we're having a fair exchange of value. So after 30 days, if you feel like you haven't gotten the value you were expecting yet, then you can say, hey, Jared, of the $3,000 I gave you, it's been worth $2,000 to me. I want $1,000 back, or something like that. And then, you know, basically from that point, if you agree, you give me 30 days to either, you know, create additional value so we get square with it, or, you know, I give you the $1,000 back, or whatever you're asking for, up to 100%. You know, I don't want anybody to not be happy with what they're getting out of this. And to me, and this is kind of the challenge, and why I'm kind of setting it this way, this system to me is as valuable as anybody makes it. Like, to me, there's infinite value in this system, and it's really just a matter of how empowered people are being with the tools that are in their hands, which is why, and I don't know if you saw it, and you would actually be a great person within this as well, I'm creating a realm of empowerment for Uniting for Action as well, because I'm recognizing, and I'm experiencing it a lot myself, that we're all limited by our internal challenges, obstacles, whatever it is. So it doesn't matter how awesome and sophisticated the technologies are and the solutions are, we're still going to be limited by whatever's stopping us, right? Yeah. So I'm really getting that for Uniting for Action. So the systems to me provide infinite value, but there's a limit to how much value people can get based on where they're at, you know? And so the realm of empowerment is made up of coaches and counselors and books and videos and just everything there is to create empowerment in any area of people's lives, right? And to systematize that, all of that as well, so that when you either show up not knowing where your limits are, and you like, hey, I need support. And then it's like kind of people that are like in the intake realm, you know, people that are like volunteering to process people up front, you know, and start giving them direction and pointing them to resources and that sort of thing. And then also people that are specializing in very certain things. Like, I know that I'm dealing with procrastination, so let me tune into the procrastination channel and see what videos there are to watch and what people there are with systems and coaches and webinars and all of that. So that's a big part of Uniting for Action, because I know that, you know, it doesn't matter all the solutions and everything we're coming up with if we're not empowering people to use all of that. So,
yeah.
So
energetic triage. I like that.
Exactly.
And there's the three again. The try. Wow.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's another, as I'm saying it, it's another aspect of all of this, is you definitely, I want to feature you very prominently in the realm of empowerment, you know, and this will be a whole other platform for you to connect with people in that way as well, just to let you know.
Yeah. Beautiful. So, yeah. So this, if I can like encapsulate what I'm getting so far, this is a system of making the connections that we need to move forward.
That's a big part of it, you know, okay. Because I see that you look at it at a micro level, like where you're going to get your needs met because you're reaching more people because now you've got a platform that is sharing with people the needs that you have. Like right now, you know, you've got a whole bunch of needs in your head, but there's no place you can point me to see where I can see all your needs and potentially send you somebody, right?
Yeah.
And we're all lacking that, right? So that's the first thing that this system does, is it gives us a way to be able to, you know, share our control panel with everybody essentially, right? Like, here's all my needs that I have, which needs can you help me with, right? And so just having a tool to be able to do that is going to have us get all of our needs met much quicker anyways, right? Just to be able to share things with people. Now, on top of sharing things with people, we're creating all of this inspiration and incentives to have, you know, people even more invested in wanting to share things with us, right? And then on top of that, when you think of it in the macro level, as we start to establish this platform as like an amazing win-win-win place that a lot of people want to participate in. Now what's happening is now you, not only as a seeker, are getting all your needs met, but you've got all of these friends that are trying to get their needs met, and you know that you're actually going to get something, you know, incentivized when you help them meet their needs, right? So every day, instead of checking, you know, your Twitter feed, what you're doing is you're checking, you know, your United Interaction system, which one of my friends have posted new, you know, supporters that they're seeking that I can connect them with, you know. And what we're doing is we're operating in a world where we're incentivized to be supporting all of our friends in creating the realities that they want to create. And in that environment, all of our friends are showing up to help us create our reality. Like, how much more reality are we all going to be creating when we're living in a world where we're all doing this for each other, you know?
Yeah. Fantastic.
Yeah. So yes, to answer your question, you know, it's connecting people and all of that, but it's bigger than that. It's providing the full-on mechanism for us to get our needs met within an environment and an ecosystem where we're all doing that for each other. And so it's a platform to allow you to accelerate the creation of your realities, you know, as much as you can inspire and incentivize people is what it comes down to, right?
Yeah. Wow, it's a lot.
I get it. I get it. I get it. And in that case too, you know, you can share with me what your thoughts are about the pay what it's worth to you aspect, because this is an experimental, like, you know, concept I'm playing with. I'm actually feeling like this may become like a model for a lot of humanity, because I feel like this whole like, let's establish a fair exchange based on how valuable you find it. And let me kind of take it from another approach so you can understand. And I haven't put this on the website yet, and maybe this is how it'll go on through this video clip. Let's see how well I can explain it. I want to create the highest level win-win relationship that I can with every person that I connect with. And so the way that I'm personally doing it, I'm paying it forward because I've spent years building all of this that I know can be very valuable for anybody, you know, whoever is ready to embrace it. So I'm paying it forward. Here, take it, use it for free. I'm going to actually have a self-service model where people have tutorials and just can, you know, use all these systems themselves first, so then they can, you know, pay what it's worth to them afterwards, and then keep doing that. Because I expect as people get better and better at using the systems over time, that then it's going to be worth more and more and more over time. And so essentially we're saying, you know, pay whatever, you know, monthly you think this system is worth for the results that it's creating for you in your life, right? And then also by doing that, it gives us the ability to help tune in to where people are at in terms of how much value this is creating for them, right? Somebody that's only like paying, let's say, you know, $30 a month compared to somebody that's paying like $300 a month, they're not creating as much value in their life in general, right? For somebody that's paying $30 a month as for somebody that's paying $300 a month, right? So what's the difference? Like, what ways can we empower the person that's paying $30 a month to get them up to the level where they're operating in a realm of currency exchange and value exchange with the world, that this is being more valuable to them. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like however much people are giving is kind of like a measurement of how empowered they're being in their lives in a way. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
it's like that measurement gives them the ability to then go and say, wow, this is still only being worth $50 a month for me. And yet I know there's all these people paying $500 a month. Let me dive into the realm of empowerment and see how, what empowerment I can get in my life to be able to start operating on a higher level of abundance, a higher level of creating results, a higher level of whatever. Right. Yeah. So that's kind of the way, again, that I'm approaching it. And I'm using, like I said, having people decide before our session how much they think it's going to be valuable to them, because it helps me tune in to where they're at and their empowerment at the moment. Right. And helps me tune in to like the level of game that they're playing at. Right. There's going to be some people that are saying that, we can do all this the way that I'm imagining it, then yes, for sure, this is going to be worth $3,000. And I can see where within a month, either it'll already be, I'll get the $3,000, or I can see that it's going to go there. So let me give you the $3,000 and let's at least start at that level. And then obviously that gives me a whole different target of how to work with them and what we need to do together to create that value for them, versus somebody that's saying, let me give you $300, and because that's the value that I'm going to get out of it. You get what I'm saying? It gives me an understanding of where that person is at and where I should be at with them, and maybe also, what ways to directly connect them with people within the realm of empowerment to help them raise their game along the way. Right. So I want to kind of meet people wherever they're at in this moment, and then, provide all the tools to help them keep ramping it up along the way. So, cool. Yeah.
You are a true visionary, my friend.
Thank you, brother. Thank you. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, it's not a term I toss around lightly. Yeah.
I appreciate that. I really feel that. I get that. And I appreciate the resonance. So, I don't know if there's a figure coming in your mind right now, or if you want to sit with it and think about, how valuable you want this to be, what type of exchange you want to start out at. Of course, there's all kinds of other exchanges beyond money, and I'm sure that you can bring a lot of value in a lot of other ways as well. Obviously, besides the direct value exchange, one of the other, or direct paying, one of the other things that people have been doing recently, which has been really helpful for me, has been even just loaning money, because I've been in this realm where I've spent, so many years developing all of this, that it's created, real financial challenge that I haven't had a real income, for years as I've been doing all of this. So it's involved, creating all the debt that I could, having other people create all the debt they could, just really living at a real challenging way financially. And I know very soon that's all going to go away, because now that I finally have this, I haven't had something that could create enough value for enough people to be able to, get that financial exchange. I've still been working. Now it's evolved enough to start having people realize, like you are, like, wow, this is worth something to me, and this is going to create value for me in my world, and that sort of thing. So I know the financial challenges are about to be over, in the coming weeks. But in the meantime, it's still super challenging. So a lot of people that have been supporting along the way have been loaning money for, a couple weeks, couple months. And so that's a big part of it too, because then people don't have, in the end, they're not out money. They haven't given me, $1,000, but they've loaned me $1,000, and I've still been able to help them. Like, the interest they're receiving is my personal support, right?
Wow.
So yeah, so that's been a big way of getting support from people, has been short-term loans. I'm even going so far as offering at the moment, while I still can, while it's still, this valuable to me, to pay people back the loan plus 10% adding an additional 10% every month that it goes by. Because, money in the short term is that valuable to me that, in 2 months, I'll give you 120%, in 3 months, I'll give you 130%, whatever it is, because again, at the moment, it's that valuable. So people can support with providing finances, with providing loans, with providing connections to people that can provide finances and can provide loans, and also to connect me with people that can support just in the whole business build out of all of this, right? There's so many business people that I need, just like you need, to create this whole enterprise. Just to quickly kind of give you a vision of where this is going, so you understand, where my mind is at and where we're at in the process, is that for many years, I'm glad I'm saying this, this is a key piece I want to share with you. For many years, I've had so many great ideas and great visions and great systems, as you're getting a little peek into right now. And I felt I was using the consciousness of the world, which is essentially that all these great ideas that you have are known as intellectual property, and you have to have non-disclosure agreements with anybody that you share these things with, because if you don't, then somebody can take your ideas and create a business, and now you're going to be left with nothing. And now, all the great ideas you had, you didn't get to monetize, essentially, right? And so living in that world for so many years, I wasn't sharing, all of my best stuff with the world. I was sharing it with very limited people that literally signed non-disclosure agreements with me. And there was so much that I wouldn't share with even those people because I felt like it was too sensitive to share with anybody, right? So for years and years and years, I had all of these amazing ideas locked in my head and not creating results in the world. And I wasn't getting on the surface much closer to my goal of, realizing all this. I felt like these ideas were worth billions of dollars and would create industries worth billions of dollars, and that I needed to create a business that was operating at that scale, that was operating at Fortune 500 scale, in order to be able to have the impact in the world that I've wanted to have, which is to transform our planet, to make it sustainable, to address all of these challenges. Like, I felt like looking at how our world operates, like if you want to have, influence in the world the way the Fortune 500 companies have influence in the world, you have to be a Fortune 500 company at the table, right? You have to be playing that game with the big boys, and you have to be in that, room having those conversations and that sort of thing. So that was why I felt like I had to take all this value I had, and I had to channel it into an entity that was going to create this massive enterprise that was then going to be able to lead the world in this kind of way, right? And I had this epiphany in October. So a little less than a year ago, I had this epiphany that all these years are going by, the planet is on fire, all these disasters are happening. I feel it so deeply myself. And I think this is another thing, as I think you and I share this, is that, when I hear or even think about, the rainforest being on fire, the coral reefs dying, the polar caps melting, there's all these things. It's like a part of my body, withering and dying. I feel it. I relate to life as life itself, right? I relate, and so what I'm doing on this planet is it's not Jared doing it, it's life doing it through the limited vessel of Jared. And Jared's been doing everything he can to get himself out of the way, to let life express itself in a way that allows life to survive on this planet, essentially. Yeah. So everything you're seeing is based on my survival instinct as life trying to express itself in a way to, keep as many species on this planet as we can, as we're losing some every day. Yeah. And so as I'm doing all of that, as that's my mission, in October, I realized, listen, even if somebody steals all of these ideas and it creates the world that I am envisioning, at least I'll have fulfilled my purpose on the planet to transition our society to sustainability. So
Yeah.
I'm going to stop worrying about if I'm the person and I'm creating a company and all of that. And I'm just going to put everything out there into the world. I'm going to broadcast everything that I have, every great idea that I have all of the time. I'm going to put out into the world because I want the world to be able to use it to create the world that I'm envisioning in my head. I want the best of what's out there to be alive in the world. And as I've been doing that and thinking about it, that's become a part of the system that I'm working to create over time. It's going to take some time, but I'm already visualizing basically creating a system that incentivizes everybody to do that, right? Because right now we're living where, again, all the best ideas are getting locked behind, you know, business plans and corporations trying to come out through some certain thing, and we do not have access to all of those great ideas. So I'm visualizing a future where we're incentivized to put every great idea that comes out into our head into this system, out into the world, for people to do whatever they can with it immediately, and for us to receive some, you know, income or royalty or whatever from that idea. Kind of the same with music, right? And with other artistic expressions to basically make ideas like that, right? Where everybody, essentially, we're operating within a system where as soon as you express the idea into the system, you have created ownership of it just in your expression of it, and others can use it, but then they have to pay you a royalty, essentially. So whatever it looks like, the idea is that all of the best of what we have is getting out into the world, and we're using it instantly, so we can all be operating within this environment, you know, best practices, you know, instantly. And so when I had the realization in October to be able to, you know, start getting all of this out into the world, that created such a shift, right? And that's where I started really, you know, personally going on this whole shift, as I started building the systems and communicating it and putting it out to people and all of that, in terms of, you know, being in a process, a manifestation process for us collectively that we can all start to work on together. Because now what I'm doing is building it in an open source kind of way, so that as I'm sharing everything open source, then anybody who can support with any part of it can see, you know, somebody can be watching our video because they want to support you and what you're up to, and they can hear me say something, and they can say, oh, I know somebody that can help Jared with that. And then, you know, that they become a connector, and that supporter shows up, right? Yeah. So it's like creating for the solution that I've been envisioning for the world, for us to get to this level of sustainability. It's no longer so much about a corporate entity that I'm creating to be able to contain it all. It's more of like the corporate entity is creating the open source infrastructure that allows everyone to show up in their role within this infrastructure, play their role, and we're all co-creating our reality together. So that's really what it's, you know, looking like now in terms of creating it all. And so again, in terms of my immediate needs, it's anybody that can show up in any big role in all of this to help support, you know, creating this vision alive in the world. So there's the whole, you know, financial side, which is obviously, you know, important and immediate for me. And then there's also, you know, connecting with people that resonate with this vision, you know, could watch this video or have a conversation and be like, oh, I've got to connect Jared with this person. I got to connect Jared with this person. I want to help him with this part, you know, all of that. So that's all, you know, you being a connector for all of that as well. So that's essentially it. It's like all the ways that you can be a direct supporter, all the ways that you can be a direct connector. That's all value to me in our value exchange. So I'll let you, you know, kind of sit with everything, and then, you know, come back to me and say, you know, I can pay you this amount of money now. I could loan you this additional amount of money. I can connect you with these people. I can do this, I can do that, you know, and just tell me, you know, what seems fair for you, what you want to establish as a fair exchange for us. Again, within that guaranteed aspect that if you haven't gotten what you feel like is fair as we're going forward, then we'll give you money back. We'll do whatever we need to do to make it fair, because that's the kind of relationship I want to have with everybody. And I think that everybody wants to have with everybody. So I'm trying to establish these kind of new norms and systems that support these new norms that allow all of us to be in a continually escalating win-win exchange. So as I'm saying that, there's one other piece. I apologize. I know I've talked a bit, but there's this other piece I want to say before I forget. In this win-win exchange, what I've done is I've taken all this time to create all this value, and now I'm putting it in your hands, and I'm saying, okay, give me back whatever value it is to you in this moment, right? And that's what I'm asking for everybody. If you're going to be a user of the system, provide a monthly fee that you think is fair, that you think is a fair exchange of value. And then when people do that, then whatever they're giving back is actually allowing the system to add new functionality, add new, things that then create more value for them, right? And if it creates more value for them, then presumably they're going to be able to turn that into more value and give more value back, right? And as they give more value back, it's going to build it out, provide more value, and then it becomes an infinitely escalating process, right? A positive feedback loop system that allows us to keep going up and up and up in our value exchange forever, essentially. So that's the idea that I want to create with everybody, and also, again, help establish as a foundational exchange with everybody. Everybody would love to have a constantly escalating value exchange with everybody in their world, right? So how do we create that as a concept, and then how do we build the systems that facilitate that? So that's everything. Yeah.
Wow. Beautiful. Yeah. Is that a Superman mug you got there?
Yes.
Well, that's appropriate. Yeah. Oh. Yeah, that's a beautiful vision, brother. Yeah, it's the way forward for humanity, yeah. We have to be supporting each other rather than competing against and trying to beat out other people. We need to lift each other up.
Yeah, I appreciate you seeing it. And I think, again, you and I share this, is that I know you feel these sorts of things in the ethers just like I do, and you bring it through in the ways that you bring it through, and you're seeing the way that I'm bringing through the same kind of concepts and feelings that you've had in the ethers, and I'm bringing it through in a whole different way, right? Using a whole different language and a whole different, creation mechanism. But I've been in this space of, how do we create win-win? How do we create value? How do we, support each other? All these different feelings that you're saying, I've been the engineer in that space, like I can feel it, I can get it, I can feel what I want it to be like. How do I take these mechanical structures that exist in our three-dimensional world and pull them all apart and put them all back together in a new way that allows for all of that? And that's essentially what I've been doing.
Bye, sweetheart. That's yeah, you've been doing big work. That's I salute you and honor you for the internal process you've been doing, and where you're coming from. I'm in total alignment, and like you, I recognize that this body is part of the earth. What we do to the earth, we're doing to ourselves. What we do to another, we're doing to ourselves. And yeah, we're at such a critical time. And it seems like most people are in information overload and stimulation overload. And meanwhile, we're, retreating, people are retreating to their silos because there's just so much. And then that creates a tunnel vision that, it makes it more difficult to see the big picture and to feel the big picture at the time that we need to be all collectively feeling the big picture, not in our little silos and alienating people who are not in our silo, and the last video that you showed me, is that public on YouTube?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Because I feel like I need to digest more of, the nuts and bolts of what you've presented to me, and how I can, utilize it. Yeah, but I feel like this is really important and meaningful and intentional that we are connecting right now.
Yeah, I agree. And I feel that.
Yeah. I'm just feeling a lot of love here right now. Thank you for your good heart, brother. Thank you for your spirit. Thank you. I see you. And that internal aspect, like I said, I feel a responsibility to share the medicine that life is channeling through me, as much as possible. And it's like my own internal shortcomings are the only thing that's held back from being, more widely experienced around the world. And so I recognize, it's painfully obvious, that I need help. I need a team, and the tribe. The tribe is the team. The team is the tribe. And that's all in infinitely varying degrees. And so I definitely want to be part of this. Like I already am. It's just a lot to digest. And so as far as like in my business plan, which I'm very right brain dominant. And
I was going to tell you, I've been around so many, artists and yogis and, people that are right brain dominant. And, I've seen over and over again, and I'm that way too in many ways, even though I do a lot of left brain stuff, that the limitations, like you're saying, like, and again, and people like you, I'm sure you've felt this a lot of times. It's like, if you could, I imagine you would just do your music. You wouldn't deal with the setting up venues and doing this and doing that. You'd have somebody doing that, right?
Yeah.
And that's such a challenge in our world that we have, that right now so many creative people and so many people whose gifts are in all these other areas have to do all of these other different things just to try to get their gifts out, and it's a real shortcoming of our systems again, that we're in that place. It's like you're saying, it's like, why can't we connect all the dots? You're creating enough value with your music. Why can't we just connect all the dots that's all you do? You create the value through the music, and then all the other pieces show up to handle all the other parts of it, so that you can just keep doing what you're here to do rather than do all these other things that you're not here to do,
Right. Exactly. Yeah. um, yeah, and my more closer to perfection reality, I would just be, making the music, cultivating myself and my relationship to nature, to allow this vessel to receive more inspiration and to to just keep the channels open and healthy to receive those transmissions that are waiting to come through. And yeah, and then I can just say, well, we need to do this, let's do this, and then it all gets done, and I can stay in my zone of genius. And
And that's where this is going, as you can probably tell, is that ultimately I'm building a system that you can simply say what you want to get done, and you can provide what the value is that you're offering to get that done. And the system connects all the dots and does all the mechanics of what needs to get done to make it happen. So you won't have to be involved in the details. There'll be other people managing all the detail, all that sort of stuff. So that is ultimately where it's going, is that we all get to stay within our genius, all get to stay within our creative space, and the system just deals with all the other details.
Wow. Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. You're welcome. Well, you were mentioning your business plan. Was there something you want to say about
that? So it involves incentivizing people to share the music. And of course, we're in the age of streaming. So, for a long time, I resisted, I was very resentful of like Spotify, because they pay, it's like 1/3 of a penny for every stream, which seems ridiculous, but then again, if there's millions of people listening, then, some value comes back to me. But I also realize, that's where people are consuming a lot of people are consuming their music. So I started, actively putting my music on those systems, and yet in the independent, as an independent musician, because I am that, as well as, a healer. I'm like straddling the world of like music / entertainment and healer, meditation and ceremony. I'm I guess embracing all of that in a new way, or maybe it's an old way. I see successful independent musicians incentivizing people to purchase their music, downloads directly from them, and so they provide incentives like exclusive content, tracks that aren't put on the streaming systems, exclusive material that's only available directly through the artist. In my case, I can offer also, the meditation experience, and there's live recordings that are special. There's even recordings from my earlier life, as a rocker. Some of that is pretty precious to me, and a lot of people are interested in. And when they have an experience with my music, this transcendent experience through the music, then they want to, who is this person? Where did it come from? Oh, well, here's where that, grew out of. So there's things that I have, from my, further back to share as well. And then I can also provide, at certain levels, direct access, like through live streaming or etc. And so during lockdown, I invested in a platform that was in beta at the time, and it's a full website builder, autoresponder for email, payment processor, affiliate system. So it can do direct payouts for, like, so let's say I had put together a package where, I can incentivize people to share my music for purchase and make it an attractive price. Let's say I have an album, just as an example, let's say I have a new album, and then I'll add bonus tracks and outtakes and remixes. So it's like things that they can't get through the streaming services. So, and plus they'll have it on their hard drive. So if Spotify goes down, then they'll always have this, and then I can let the person who shares it maybe receive a large percentage or even 100% of those funds. If they get someone to share it with a friend, the friend buys it, then they can receive that funds directly. I don't have to do the bookkeeping. I don't have to send the payouts. The money goes directly to them. And then there's someone makes that purchase, then there's what in marketing they call an upsell, so like, hey, you like this? Well, we might like my meditation program. So then I would get the funds for that. And so everyone wins. The person who shares the music gets all of that, and then I have an opportunity my system fulfills the order digitally. So I have a new contact, someone who has chosen to purchase this package, and I can communicate with them directly and build a relationship, and also have the opportunity in that moment to say, hey, there's also this, would you like to go a little bit deeper, or a lot deeper, and have, let's go all in. And so that I can benefit financially in that same transaction, and on. Then we have a relationship building, and whatever comes through in the future, I can still share with them. And then that person who just made the purchase, we can invite them to share, and they can get their money back instantaneously if one of their friends purchases that package. And so anyway, I have all this platform, and I tried to dive in when it was in beta, and things just weren't working, and just tried to build a new website and landing page, and I just spent so many hours just grinding, and things were just going wrong. And now it's not in beta anymore, and appears to be working. And now I find myself in this state of overwhelm where it's like, oh God, now, okay, I got to go back in there and do this all myself. Really, I need someone who is skilled, not only in building websites, but it'd help if they're already familiar with the platform. Although, someone who is skilled already at building sites can just probably go in there and just understand where the parts are and throw it all together. But yeah, I feel like this, the overwhelm is like weighing on me, because I also need to get more proficient with my recording softwares, because I'm, recording at home. And then there's don't even get started on social media. It's like there's this opportunities in social media to develop a quick following by making short videos, but yet do I put my energy there, or making connections is so much more powerful, and have a good friend who has built a very successful career by getting off of social media and making direct connections and building this tribe of affiliates, and helps other people to do that as well with their programs. And he's someone I might, I think I should connect you with. So anyway, sorry, I've got a brain dump coming here. But
keep going.
Anyway, so I have the platform. I have a lifetime membership in this new platform that is no longer in beta, and it has the payment processing, the affiliate payouts, all that stuff is in there, and it's waiting for me to use it. Meanwhile, my existing website is kind of last decade level. It's there, and it's doing its job, but it's there's so much more that needs to be put into it, and as well as using blog and video to continue sharing with people. So yeah, so anyway,
yeah, it's perfect that you're sharing all of that. So let me say a couple things that are coming to mind. For a while, until we get to a much deeper level of sophistication, the Uniting for Action platform is going to exist in parallel with any other platforms like the one that you're talking about. You know, our platform is not going to replace or try to replace the platform that you have this subscription to. You're going to use that to do all the things, that or some version of it, to do all the things that you're talking about. And the Uniting for Action platform, the story making machine, is going to exist in conjunction, because there are certain things that you're going to want to send people to the Uniting for Action platform to that's different than what you're going to send them to for all the other stuff. So they're going to work hand in hand, just like your social media, right? You're not going to leave social media because you have this other thing. You use them both, right? So this is going to be additive with the other platforms that you're on. It's not going to substitute for anything that any of the platforms you're currently on. In the future, as this gets much more sophisticated, I never told you the full vision, so let me share it with you and then we'll work our way back. But in the future, the developers that created the system that you're describing that does all of these things, they will integrate with the Uniting for Action platform, where it's a plugin, basically, where all of their technology is a plugin that you pay a certain subscription fee to use their plugin within the Uniting for Action system. So that's where the Uniting for Action system is going, is that it's basically like an operating system where anybody that has anything to offer can plug right into the operating system and can monetize it however they want, so that they, you know, still have their clients, they're still serving their clients in the way that they're serving them. It's just now integrated with everything. So it's not two separate platforms, but it's one platform that not only serves all of your purposes in that way, but serves all your purposes in this other way and this other way. And so, you know what I'm saying, to integrate it all, right? Yeah. And so again, it's almost like exactly what you're saying with the siloing part. It's the same kind of situation with businesses, right? Businesses exist as separate entities now, and we have to be the master integrators trying to stitch all these different things together, right? And it puts the onus on us, right? And all the learning that we do to figure all of that out is not available to our friends and our family and our other, and again, it's part of the supreme lack of intelligence of what we're doing right now, is that all the learning that each one of us does about things is not available to others. So again, we're operating in a very primitive way as humans right now, where you're doing something today that millions of other people are doing today. And when I show up to do that, I don't have access to all that you learned and all those millions of other people learned. I've got to start from scratch again, right? Right. So it's like, how insane is that as a species, that we have all this technology and yet we're acting as if we don't know how to use it, you know? Right. And so again, this is part of the real, so just to give you the forward, you know, again, where this is going to where Uniting for Action relatively soon, because again, you get the revolutionary aspect of all of this so much, and there are others that will, and others in very prominent places, influencers, you know, corporate executives, other people that really get, you know, how revolutionary this is. And so as soon as we're ready to operate with those people, share with those people, they're ready to come on board, there will be, you know, big corporations, you know, the biggest corporations on the planet, the biggest foundations on the planet, the biggest entities, you know, whose marketing budgets are in the hundreds of millions of dollars, billions of dollars, that are going to want to provide a lot of support to this platform on the order of tens of millions of dollars, hundreds of millions of dollars, you know, from just them, because they want to support this evolution of humanity from being, you know, where we've been at to where we're going with all of this. We're going from where, as we just described, we're acting as if we don't, well, we don't know everything that everyone else is doing. We're moving to a system where everything we do, every intention that we have, is fulfilled by a reality generating machine, and we won't have to create them from scratch. We'll be able to see the 100 or the 1,000 or the million other reality generating machines that somebody already used to do what we're doing. And so we'll have data-driven analytics about what is the optimum way to accomplish anything that we want for everything that we want very soon. So again, to go from a society where anything we want to do, it's like, how do I do it? You know, all these things that you're describing, you know, the learning curve that you're going to face to dive back into that platform, because we're not operating in a system where you actually could see everything that everyone already did that has been using the system, that you could have access to all the ways that they did it, all the best ways to do it, all the fastest ways to do it, all the contractors that already know how to do it and what they charge and how well, how quick they can do it and how efficient they do it and what quality score they've received. You know what I'm saying? To have all of this level of information, that's where we're going with it. So, and the reason that this platform and this transformation is so appealing to all of these huge corporations and foundations and all of that is, as you can see, they want to be socially conscious, right? All of these entities want to stand for something. However, we're living in a world, as you know, that whenever any corporation or any entity stands for anything, they're alienating 50% of their customer base automatically, right? No matter what they choose, like they can't find an issue they can make everyone happy about, right? There's like no issue that exists in our world anymore that like people aren't like being against, right? And that's a real challenge for these corporations. However, this platform, by supporting the platform, that gives all of these entities the ability to support our transformation as a humanity, and to by association, support all of those causes, because they're supporting the platform that their customers are using to address all of those causes. So they don't have to have the liability of trying to get behind a cause that, costs them customers. What they do instead is they get behind the platform that allows their customers to be able to address that cause effectively. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so this is going to be why this is going to be so appealing to the whole corporate world, to the whole nonprofit world. There's a whole another piece of how this really transforms the whole nonprofit world, because the whole nonprofit world is caught up in the same problems we've been talking about, where, thousands, tens of thousands of nonprofits are all competing against each other for the same donor dollars, for the same corporate support, for the same media attention. They've got to elbow the nonprofit to the right and to the left to carve out their space, rather than, combine resources, create a collective strategic solution that's most effective, most efficient, right? It's like we couldn't find a more inefficient and ineffective way to address our bigger challenges than to spread all of our resources amongst all these organizations that won't work with each other because they're competing against each other.
Right. Oh.
So again, this platform allows us to transition to this new world where all this is available. So again, some version of this will become this de facto system that we're all operating in together. And again, because Uniting for Action isn't going to be owning it, we're just simply creating a starting point for the world to show up and co-create it together. Right. So within this space, this is what our future looks like. And so again, I want to give you that kind of vision of where we're going with all this. So you get, all the pieces that will get filled in along the way. Right. Like you may be thinking, oh, my brother-in-law is friends with this CEO of this Fortune 500 company, and he would be a great person to connect with Jared, but Jared's going to have to get things to this, and this place before I would want to make the introduction type of thing, right? Like those are that's the steps that we're in right now, right? Is that we're going to be, ultimately, my expectation literally is that Uniting for Action will become the biggest corporation that's ever existed on the planet, because we're holding the space to allow all of this to happen. And everyone will want to support all this happening at the level that, of course, it'll be like that. Of course, it'll be bigger than any corporation is right now, because it's having an impact, on a whole different scale than corporations are having right now, type of thing, right? So that's where we're growing to. You can see where we're at, not too far from where you're at, starting with person number one. And there's all of those needs all along the way. But I just want to kind of give you that context so that, again, you and I can grow together, where I'm going to support you in, helping you find the people that you need to work with the existing platform that you have, at this point, because this is where you're at and what your needs are along those lines. But also you're getting a sense, you know, of where we're going with all of this. So you can have a sense of, you know, do I want to, you know, I can foresee something that I need technologically. Now, this is going to just jump you ahead, but it's going to give you an idea. When you get to define something that you have a need for, that you either can't find, or you can't find that you know, a way that you like, whatever it is, you're not finding the product that you're looking for, then within this new system, be able to basically tune into the channel where you're finding all the other people that have similar sorts of needs, be in a conversation with those people about what your combined collective needs are, and be in a conversation with developers and experts and all of that are searching for solutions and are figuring out solutions based on what your needs are that you guys are describing, right? So essentially, you're going to be able to custom build a solution alongside all the other people that are, because you're willing to put in $50 and another 1,000 people are willing to put in $50. And now with that $50,000, the developer has the, you know, the budget they need to build what's going to serve all of you guys. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So again, so we're going there, but I want to bring it back to, you know, like you said, there's certain platforms you're working with now that this is how Uniting for Action in the short term integrates with that platform, is that you're saying, you either decide, okay, I'm for sure working with this because I already paid for it, or, you know, maybe there may be a possibility I might work with some other platform if somebody could give me a good enough reason, you know, to do so. But one way or another, you're going to have a platform like that, and you need to have some support from either a web developer or a specialist in that platform, or whatever that looks like. And that's one of the supporters you're looking for right now. And so in our session, we're going to, you know, you're going to describe what your needs are for that person and the types of things you need them to be able to do and the qualifications they need to have. And this is what you have, you know, to offer them, you know, both monetary as well as whatever other incentives you may be able to offer to them. And you're going to do your best to inspire, you know, those people through the video that we're creating, so that, you know, maybe they'll take less money because you're inspiring them more, or you have other different types of incentives you can offer. So that's, again, what you can do before our session is you can be thinking about it, and this is essentially starting the mind mapping process, you know, without me essentially, but, you know, starting to think about who are all the supporters, you know, that are like priorities right now. What are the priorities of what I want to accomplish? Who are the supporters that I need, you know, to accomplish those things? And then when you and I are in the session together, we'll be recording the video that'll be the snippets that we'll be putting within the story making machine that you'll be using to recruit the support that you're looking for. And then in the short term, you'll be tapping into your network, you know, to ask for, you know, anybody that can be a supporter or anybody that can connect you with those supporters. And then you'll look for, you know, other people that, you know, that's a connector that can be a connector to a connector, you know, that sort of thing. So again, a lot of it is what you're naturally already thinking of and already been doing with the connecting. But again, I'm connecting the dots for you now so you can see how the whole system applies to exactly where you're at with this platform, you know, with the, you're just talking about the audio software, you know, whatever different pieces are there for you right now that you can identify. That's what we're going to use our session for. And then we're going to have, you know, coming away from our session, all these different supporters identified, all the different offers identified, and now you'll be ready to start sharing those offers and start getting those supporters to show up. And as those supporters show up to complete any of your reality generating machines, then you'll be able to start going ahead and start working with them. The completion, I think I said this in the first video, but the gear gets installed essentially into the machine when you create an agreement with that supporter. That's how you know you've gone from a blueprint where you've identified, you know, what do I need in this person? That's what we'll do in our session. We'll be blueprinting those positions. And then when you get, you know, you'll be interviewing people, you'll be negotiating with people, then finally you'll create an agreement with one of them, right? And then once you create an agreement with them, Great. Now that gear is handled. Now, which other gears do I need to create agreements with, essentially, right? And then once you have agreements with all of the gears in one particular machine, okay, great. Now that I've got agreements with everyone, now I'm ready to turn this machine on. So essentially, you're ready to start executing those agreements, right? You're ready to say, okay, now I'm ready for you to do this, and I'm ready for you to do that, and I'll be ready for you to do your part in a month when this other person is done with their part, and that sort of thing. So that's how you turn the machine on and then create the result that the machine is intended to create.
Amazing. Amazing. Is there, I'm familiar with the concept of mind mapping. I've very underutilized it, which I guess shows in my in my situation. I think I need to do some mind mapping. Is there any like free online mind mapping software or programs that you can recommend? Or I just Google search it, but
yeah, there are some, and I don't know how much they offer for free, but the first one is MindMeister. That has a free version. I just don't know how many mind maps you can create with it or whatever. But MindMeister is the one that we're going to transition to.
Okay.
The other one, the one that I just showed you, is MindMup, Mind M-U-P instead of an M-A-P.
Okay.
And they might have a free version, but also their paid version is just $3 a month. But
I think I can swing that.
Yeah. But the MindMeister is where we're headed technologically, because there's integration that I can do between MindMeister and the story making machine, where basically you'll be able to use MindMeister to create the map, and then automatically the pages will get generated from the map that you create, and vice versa. So yeah, it's going to be real interesting integration. So if you want to, I would say MindMeister if you can, if that fits your needs.
Okay.
Because that'll be the most integrative to where we're going with this.
Okay. Well, I'll definitely check that out. I think, I need to do some mind mapping and meditation to to prepare to jump into this pool with you.
I appreciate it.
Yeah. So I don't want to just show up with a scrambled palate,
I understand. And I'll share this video with you so that you can watch it again if you want to go over different pieces.
Yeah, I'm so glad you recorded.
Exactly. Now you get why I record, and you can share it with your wife and share it with other people that you think can provide input, and give you ideas and feedback on different things to cover, different things, that they know about to add into it. So yeah, all of that for sure.
Yeah. While we're on here, I don't know if you might want to take this out of the recording, but have you been in?
And we'll create a different one just in case, because sometimes it gets.
I was just going to mention a couple of names of people that we both know that I think would be good for you to connect with if you haven't already.
Let me stop.
Okay.
And you'll tune in into more of the things that you're looking for, and again, the direct support that you can use, and then also, people like Paloma that can be connectors into the direct support that you're looking for, whether it's event producers or promoters or, whatever the different elements are that you're looking for.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Wow. Thank you. Yeah. Wow. Thank you for all that you're doing, brother. And
thank you, brother.
For all that you're being, all that you are.
Thank you.
When I don't know if it's a challenge or if it's just a lesson, but the issue of travel now, being in Canada, I'm a U.S. citizen, so it's no problem coming back into the U.S. But getting back into Canada, they have all these requirements that I don't want to be in compliance with, and yeah, Kai invited me to this to be part of this event in Olympia, which sounds amazing, and I don't know if I can do it.
It's tough, man.
Yeah.
It's really tough. It's amazing. Um, is it possible they're going to change that? I know the CDC has been changing different things. Is Canada
Yeah.
also looking at changing requirements and stuff?
Yeah, I'm holding that possibility in my reality. Um, yeah, so yeah, I have to, you know, really look into how I can navigate those realms safely. And I mean, I've already been through border trauma with my immigration saga, and I won't. It's a long story, but yeah, yeah. Um, it's not fun. uh, and I'm grateful to be here. And at the same time, I haven't set foot in the U.S. since 2019. And, I have family there and, of course, friends and tribe community and more waiting to be met, Um, so, yeah, it's just this mystery I'm facing. Um, anyway, just brought that up.
Sounds like one way or another, it's going to be temporary, right? I mean, I know it's been a while, but it seems like it. I'm guessing it's not going to continue to be the same restrictions. It's just a matter of time, right? So
Yeah, yeah,
how much time you might still have to or have to still face those challenges.
yeah. And it's so interesting that I'm so close to the border too. It's just this imaginary line, right? Across the land. Like, jeez. But yeah, so grateful for this. We have this technology to connect, eye to eye through the ethers and heart to heart. Yeah.
Yeah, me too. I appreciate it. I appreciate you, brother. I'm glad we've been able to share this experience and go, so deep together in this time. And I'm so excited about all that's going to unfold from this, and you and your life and all the ways this is going to impact you and the people that you're connecting me with, and just like so much. There's a whole universe just between the two of us, right? As there is with two people connecting, and
Yeah.
and that's the magic of it. So I just I'm so honored and grateful for you replying and for us creating this whole universe together. I'm super excited for you to be part of my world and co-creating the world with me. I'm glad we're doing this together, brother.
Me too, bro. Hey, by the way, I have not received your text. Can you double check that it was actually sent?
Yes. So yeah, it says it was. Let me get the number. Yeah, I got the number wrong. 604-722-7211.
Yeah.
So I sent it as a text. Let me send you a WhatsApp. That's weird.
Yeah, that is. There's been some strange anomalies with cell phones service up here. Like a few weeks ago, my carrier, which is a countrywide carrier up here, they went down for almost 24 hours.
Wow.
Completely off, offline, off
Mm-hmm.
service.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing that would happen.
Yeah.
So I sent the WhatsApp. Did you get it?
I saw I saw the notification pop up on my my MacBook screen here. I'm not
Yeah.
seeing it on my phone. Let me just pull it up. I'm just going to pull up WhatsApp on my here. Yeah, there you are. Well, that's interesting. I wonder why it's not showing up on my phone.
Maybe you're still in airplane mode somehow. Maybe your phone thinks it's in airplane mode.
Yeah. Let me just double check that. It is. Jeez. False alarm there. Okay.
Well, at least your cell carrier isn't down again.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. All right. And I'm gonna. Okay. Yeah. There you are. All right.
Awesome.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you for taking this time, brother.
You
To
too.
visit me.
You too. I can't believe we've gone 3 hours, but it's been epic. I really appreciate it. It's really an amazing time together.
Yeah. Very valuable. Yeah. That's not even the right word, but I know you feel me.
I feel you, brother. I'm there with you. So grateful, so divine, so blessed. Mm.
Yeah. Thank you. Are you still in touch with Lisa then?
Yeah, we're still in touch. We're still good friends. We haven't hung out lately, but we every now and then we've gotten together. We did an amazing Goddess Dancers performance like 3 years ago. So yeah, we're still friends, still doing things together.
I should reach out to her. If you speak with her before I do, please send her my love.
Yeah, absolutely,
Okay.
for sure.
All right, brother. Thank you so much for all that you're doing and etc. All that you are.
You too, brother. You too.
All
I'm
right.
grateful for you. I'm excited. Great to
Okay.
be with you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So good. So good.
All right.
Okay.
Be well.
Okay.
Blessings. I'll
You
talk to you
too.
soon.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye.